Next scenario. Indoors, reception. We have that moody, warm ambient light. This is gonna be like probably 70% of what your receptions are gonna look like.
Yeah, so this is no daylight whatsoever is being let in. It is nighttime now.
We're now gonna pin with constant lights.
Yeah.
You use a flash.
But we'll talk about that later. We're gonna talk about constant lights first.
Yes. Steps and considerations. Again, I'm not gonna mention number 1.
If you don't have this in your head already.
Number 2, this one's important. We do want to, and I know we've reiterated this several times, but this is where you're deciding what you want the ambient light to look like. Generally, in these moody, warm scenes, you want your Kelvin to be somewhere between 32 to 4,000 Kelvin in that little range, and it's gonna really fall in that range depending on your eye.
Yeah.
Like what you prefer.
I usually walk into a room and use live view and just kind of dial in to the left, to the right, and see where my Kelvin's at, and then that's how I can see if my ambient's warm enough or cool enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then adjust your exposure so you can decide what you want the room to look like. Remember, don't go too dramatic. We want to keep the color and the tone without going so dark that it looks like some horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wedding horror movie. Light from the existing light direction. Again, even when you're indoors and you're shooting from the shadows, generally there's a light direction. Find it so that you make sure that you're adding to that light direction and retaining your shadows versus ending up with flat light.
Yeah.
Control the light via a grid or a zoom. So this is what to keep in mind. I think in this one we said constant light, pin with a constant, but remember, constant is the same thing as flash at 1/16th, 1/32nd, 1/64th, 1/128th. Just dial in the power. Use a grid if you're using flash to pin it so that your light's not spilling everywhere, okay? So just grab a grid.
Yeah.
Analyze with the highlight alert. So let's take a look at this exact scene. The 2 images on the left. Now, a lot of times you might walk into a room and be like, oh my gosh, the ambient light is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I just want to shoot and expose for that. Great, fantastic. You know what? When you are shooting macro shots, close up, so here we're on 85 at 1/200th, and let me go to pen, I just want to draw.
Yeah.
And f1.2 and ISO 800, that is a freaking bright exposure, man.
Yeah.
1.2 and ISO 800. We're shooting macro of like the candles and the candelabra and all this kind of stuff. All the details around it are being directly lit. So they're bright enough. So we gave these 2 a check. But as soon as you shoot something that's a little bit further away with those exact same settings, as soon as it's not right next to that candle, then you get this look.
Yeah.
Where
Which
it kind of,
you're gonna have to bump that up in post because to match the existing light in the other scene.
yeah. So we get that look where it's kind of all muddy, it's dark, we don't have, the background could be okay, but this stuff is not bright enough. So what's our option? Like you just said, we can go, well, this is that dark kind of moody vibe, but everything is dark along with it. This is what you just said of adjusting your ISO. So going from 800 ISO to 6400 ISO. Bro.
I would never go to 6400 ISO. I know
mean,
you did it for
can.
the example. I know that that's why you did it, but still.
What ends up happening though is that like you're right that the colors kind of just end up blending together.
Yeah.
Like you lose a lot of the dynamic range, you're losing a lot of detail. Now if you're gonna be post-producing it with a filmic vibe, maybe that's the look you want to go for because it kind of lends to it.
Yeah.
Once you put like a Fuji or a Kodak kind of filmic filter over it and it kills the color anyway and it kind of mutes it, it looks fine.
Yeah.
But for more of a modern look, this doesn't work so well.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're gonna say is we wanna go somewhere in between where basically we kind of choose a nice level of ambiance where we can see the candles, we can see kind of all that stuff, while bringing attention to the details that we wanna focus on.
Yeah.
So what we opted for was an in-between exposure. This is at 1600 ISO, so 1 stop brighter, so the background's just a little bit brighter than the first shot. This shot, all the candles and everything blows out. You have a bright part of the flowers like right where the candles are, and same with the table, but nothing is really balanced well in this because we're at 6400 ISO.
Yeah.
So what we did here is we're using the ice light, and we're just holding it. You can hold it horizontally.
Yeah.
Or vertically. If you're lighting a long table like this, you might as well just hold it horizontally so
Yeah.
it lights more of the table, it spreads this way. If you're lighting a tall centerpiece, you hold it vertically.
Yeah.
Look, this is my ice light. Or is that
All right. You can also see that the shutter speed changed from that original shot that you took at 1/200th, and then you bumped it, you slowed it down to 1/50th.
Yeah, I changed a few different things. We also did f2 instead of f1.2, and the reason is because at f1.2, it's too shallow.
Yeah.
Like you kind of like miss the focus and you don't really know where it's landing. So we went with f2 just to give it a little more interest. So overall exposure-wise, though, let's see, we went down 2 stops in shutter. We closed down a stop and a half here, and we opened up. So it's a little bit brighter than this first shot.
Yeah.
Basically.
I also want to note that there are in this specific room, there doesn't look to be any pin lights on the actual centerpieces. So you are essentially shaping the light yourself in a scenario like this, even though there is technically still an existing light direction because of the candles.
Yeah.
So another thing to note too, if you're using an ice light, does the ice light have the ability to change Kelvin?
Yes, it has a gel on it, and that's a really great point.
Yeah. So the ambient color in this room from the candles, and if there are any uplights there most likely is in the ballroom, are most likely going to be like that warm tungsten-y feel. So you don't want to go in with warm tungsten. You want to balance because your in-camera Kelvin is at 32 to 4,000 is what we said, right? So your light that's hitting your centerpieces or whatever needs to match that.
Correct. So in this case, we have that little warming gel over the ice light to give it like a 3600 balance, basically. So we do, again, we're gonna reiterate this throughout. Always make sure that you are in camera white balancing to the dominant light, and whenever you add light, you are balancing to the dominant light.
Yeah.
Okay? If the dominant light is that magenta fuchsia look, we just usually go daylight. Unless they have like pin lights that are, whatever. But in this case, like you said, a lot of photographers are gonna go in, set this super dark look, and then light the table, or light the centerpiece. You end up with something that's very dramatic. Now, we're gonna talk about this later when it comes to publication. If you're gonna publish this in Grace Ormond, cool, they'll take it like that. But any other wedding publication, like almost any other one, Style Me Pretty and all the Orange County publications, and they're looking for a more light and airy feel. They're actually gonna say, well, we'd actually rather have this one over this one.
Yeah.
But this is the ideal that they're gonna want.
Yeah, because the colors are balanced. So.
Colors are balanced, everything looks good. Then, like Shivy said, we're gonna take those same things. So the ice light with the gel at 36 to 3800 Kelvin going around the entire room using the same technique to light and shoot everything properly. Okay? So you end up with very nice, bright, and still like retaining the original color and everything of the room through this entire set. One thing that makes the ice light nice. So in cases like we talked about, can you use any other LED? Yeah, like you can use the ice light. You can use the LED panel, a $30 LED panel to do this. You can use virtually anything to do this exact same thing. A couple things to keep in mind. Make sure on the LED panel that you purchase, I think the one that we posted does have an adjustable Kelvin, okay? Make sure it has a decent quality light output so you're not getting weird tones like greens and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If you're using flash and you want diffusion, run it through like say a panel or something.
Yeah,
like
you could run it through a scrim. You could also, if you have the mag boob, you could use the mag boob, the mag sphere.
Oh, you call it that too?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I feel like everyone calls it that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Mag sphere.
But the mag sphere is not going to be as large, right?
Yeah.
Compared to like a scrim. Just keep in mind that if you are using a scrim, you need to still use your grid to control where the light's going to go. Otherwise, it's going to spill all over the place, and you're going to kill the ambient light in your room. So can you use a flash for this? Absolutely. Depending on how soft you want the light or how much pin you want, either just use a direct flash with a grid. This is going to be shot at somewhere around, if you're at 1600 ISO and at f2, your flash power is going to be like 1/32 power. Start there. So start between 1/16 and 1/32. Start at a reciprocal of your ISO. Your ISO is at 1600?
Yeah.
Start at 1/16 power. If you need to dial it down, dial it down.
And I usually, if there are pin lights on the centerpiece, I kind of place my flash where the pin lights are, like the actual stand of where the DJ has set up their lights. And then I choose the direction I want to fill into with a grid, and that way it hits like certain centerpieces that aren't lit, because sometimes they don't always have pin lights for every single centerpiece because that's super expensive.
So you can use essentially your flash to help other tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help other tables.
Help other tables' lives matter. Not third lives. Third lives don't. But tables' lives matter. Don't give me that look. You know what I'm talking about.
All right, continue. Please continue.
All right. So that's it for this. We're gonna go and follow that same principle, so that way when we lay these out in an album spread, when we lay them out on the blog, everything looks cohesive, same toning, same post-production, same everything.
Yeah.
And magazines are gonna love it. Done.